true. We must have the power to ensure our presence is not merely to tick a box and to have a full curate, but our presence should be about what happens and we have a say in it. Representation matters, but representation cannot be the final destination. As I said, presence must become participation. Participation must become influence, and influence must become institutional power. This institutional power must be exercised responsibly to produce the transformation we want to have. That is why FIDA organizing such an event remains so important. Knowledge and collective voices in defense of justice, equality, and human dignity. And the relationship between FIDA-Kenya and the Law Society must therefore continue to deepen. Our institutions occupy complementary spaces. We both carry the statutory responsibility of representing and regulating how justice is seen to be done out there. FIDA brings an indispensable gender justice lens, decades of institutional knowledge and memory, and a whole powerful network of women lawyers and friends of FIDA who have shaped jurisprudence, public policy, and access to justice in the country. I keep on telling our chair, my mwalimu, that FIDA is the real grassroots. Because even where an NGO is not there, you will find the presence of FIDA. Imagine what becomes possible when these institutions strengthened, are deliberate, and brought by all of us together. We can build stronger pathways for younger women. We can move from mentorship to sponsorship. Why am I saying? We can move from mentorship to sponsorship. Why am I saying sponsorship? Sponsorship, someone will mention your name. Someone will actually give you an opportunity without expecting anything. Mentorship, someone will show you how they did it. But sponsorship, they will make sure that opportunity is bagged by you. And that is the question we're asking ourselves. How are we sponsoring each other? How are we mentioning each other in the room when your partner or your colleague is not in that room? We can ensure that women are not merely represented in the traditional areas in which society has become accustomed to seeing us. The women lawyers belong in the constitutional litigation. She belongs in commercial practice. She belongs in arbitration. She belongs in climate and SDG practices. She belongs in technology, data governance, and AI. She belongs in the boardroom. She belongs in parliament. And I'm so proud that my emeritus president has decided to lead on that front, because we all belong there. And also, she belongs in the judiciary. We now have the highest office in the judiciary being held by a female. The titular head of the bar is also held by a woman. So the question is no longer, can women fit in? The question is our presence making that influential change that we need? And critically, she belongs wherever consequential questions are being made. As we speak today about opening those space, we must also speak about what happens when women get there. Leadership cannot simply become the pursuit of titles. I want to quote the Hamilton musical. The quote says, easy to win, but very hard to govern. So when you get in those spaces, are you just feeling a quorum, or are you actually prepared to go and represent the women in that boardroom, the women in that parliament, the women in that judiciary? As women, we must therefore resist another trap of believing that leadership requires us constantly to seek permission or validation. No. Preparation matters far more than permission. Do the work. Know your institution, understand the law, understand the governance. This message is particularly important to us, the young women lawyers. The senior ones have already known how the book and how the world works. Now it's for us to make sure, if you leave your chambers, if you're going for a meeting, if you're going to seek something out there, you actually know what you're going to seek. You don't just go and say, someone recommended. What did they recommend you to? You need to know what you're going for. Do not allow anybody to convince you that leadership belongs permanently to another generation. No. Leadership belongs to all of us. If you're given the capacity, you have the requisite skills, why not show up? Why not give up yourself to serve the good for the society? So we should never confuse respect for experience with the postponement of your own potential. We often tell young lawyers, your time will come. I increasingly find myself asking, who decided that their time is not already here? I am an example. So, for those of us who have already been privileged to occupy these positions and influence, and as our chair is exiting the leadership of FIDA chair, I want to encourage and challenge us. Let us not close those doors behind us. Let us open so wide that the ones behind us, they are going to fill in those shoes. As we propel higher, they also come up. Because if we ensure we close those doors, we will only polarize leadership. But we need all generations represented, because every generation comes with a different challenge. For those few remarks, I'm very appreciative to be here. I'm glad, and I'm hoping that we will enjoy the next sessions of our panel discussion. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause from another table there. I am not seeing them. And another one there. Thank you very much, Tess, for your speech, very inspiring. Are we merely participating in change, or are we leading it? And she also says she belongs. Who has said that the time will come? The time is now. Yes. And another thing that I take home with me is winning is easy. Governing is now where, yes. So we aspire to win, but we have a lot, probably a more hard task in now governing. Thank you very much, Tess. Okay. Sorry, our next speaker is a gentleman. See you clap. Yes, that's Ramadan Abu Bakar Mukira. and listen to his bio, it's very interesting. I didn't want to cut it, I want to read it as it is, it's very interesting. So his journey in law began in Nairobi's Eastlands, where growing up exposed him early to the weight of power and the fragility of rights. He recalls witnessing Kenya's second liberation and the giants of the struggle, the likes of James Orengo, Martha Karua, and Paul Mwite, which inspired his own path. A defining moment for him came when his favorite uncle was arrested for loitering without an ID. Do we still have that on our laws? Here? Okay. And he says, I remember thinking, how can something so simple make my uncle disappear for days? Before Ramadan before he ventured into law, he was drawn to arts, aspiring for fame as a thespian. Yes. So when we will want maybe a dance later, or what specifically was it? An actor.
In the theater.
In the theater. You must give us something. So in March 2025, he joined the Catholic University and his path became clearer. Over 13 years, he built a formidable practice in constitutional and human rights litigation, public law, and election disputes. His victories may include halting the Burat ward evictions, abolishing fees for P3 forms. I don't know where, do we still pay for P3 forms? It was that time, yes. And securing electoral reforms through the YT case. He served as a vice chair of the LSK Mount Kenya branch and the East Africa Law Society vice president. In 2024, he made history as the youngest ever president of the East Africa Law Society. Yeah. He says, I am the president at a very tumultuous time, and this is when the East Africa Law Society cannot be silent. Under his leadership, the East Africa Law Society has filed high-impact regional cases and incorporated the Ethiopian Bar Association, making it Africa's largest bar. Outside law, very interesting, he unwinds as a striker for Wazee FC. Sasa sijui kama yeye ni mzee tayari. He travels when he can, and he cherishes long, honest conversations with friends. With youthful energy, proven commitment to public interest litigation, and vision for regional legal cooperation, Ramadan is shaping the future of East Africa's jurisprudence and access to justice. Please put your hands together for Ramadan as he comes.
Madam Cynthia, I know where you got that bio. I did not give it to her. It was in the Business Daily. Lady Justice Helen Omondi, the chairperson FIDA Christine Kungo, Tess Wavinya, the vice president LSK, Jacinta Nyamusi, the senior director ODPP, chairperson Coast Branch Natasha Ali, Faith Odhiambo, president emeritus, Maura Kabata, vice president emeritus, colleagues, comrades and friends. Let me greet you with the greeting that we have in the region. I don't know if you will allow me, Madam Chair. Please. May peace be with you. No. You respond by saying, and also with you. May peace be with you. May peace be with you. It was a greeting at one time, but I think it has morphed into prayer. Thank you, FIDA, for this invite. It is an honor for me to be here representing the region. I come here as an ally. He for she. Kabata. It's called he for she, eh? He for she. Yes. As a permanent friend of FIDA now. Yeah? I will remain as a friend for now because I inquired on whether I can be a member, and I was told I'm not qualified. Therefore, Madam Judge, we shall be filing a suit to challenge this. In fact, even your board, Madam Chair, does not meet the 2/3 gender rule. I'll admit when I saw the theme, floral chic, yes, I had no idea what that means. So as a litigation lawyer, I had to find out and ask on the particulars what floral chic means. And clearly, it can be seen in the room. You all look dashing. Mashallah. Madam Chair, I tried and did green. Because a good flower will have green somewhere. Very well. I am glad I showed up today, because rooms like these, full of women who've spent careers making sure the law actually reaches the people it was written for, are rare. I didn't grow up thinking I'd end up here, but somewhere along the way, one case changed how I saw my own work. The fight to stop police stations and county governments from charging survivors of violence just to fill out a P3 form. A fee standing between a woman and the evidence she needed to be believed. It was mentioned, the P3 case. How many of you have read it? Please read that case. Citation, Legal Resources Foundation versus the Attorney General, the 47 counties, the Council of Governors, and Law Society of Kenya as an interested party. It's a 2019 case. A case I'm utterly proud of. So I come to this conversation today, not as a guest lecturing on women's rights, but as someone who's had the privilege of doing some of that work, and who's willing who's still learning from the women in this room who've been doing it for far longer. Let me now delve into a law that does not exist yet, but almost certainly will before this conference happens next year. Kenya is in the process of amending its Sexual Offences Act, 20 years after the act was first passed. The reason for the amendment is simple. In 2006, the offense did not exist. The National Council on the Administration of Justice has been finalizing proposals that would criminalize the creation and sharing of sexually explicit deepfakes, introduce extortion as a named offense, and require a gender desk at every police station in this country. I want you to sit with the 20 years in that story, not the technology. It took 2 decades for our statute books to describe a harm that women were already living with. That is not a criticism to the drafters. It is a description of how law has always worked. Harm arrives first, it is endured quietly for years, and only then, usually after a determined campaign by people in this room, kudos to Madam Chair, does it require a name in Parliament to be recognized. The theme this conference has set, gender justice, digital innovation, and democratic participation, asks us to shorten that 20 years. Not because we can predict every harm technology will invent. We cannot. The same digital tools now enabling this harm are also expanding how women access justice across the region. Through filing system, case tracking, and evidence platforms, and a profession that treats technology only as a threat will build half a response to a whole theme. So we can decide, as a profession, to stop waiting for the statute before we start building the institutional response on both fronts. Here is where I think this bar has been asking the wrong scale of question. The amendment I described is Kenyan. The harm is not. An image altered in Kampala can be circulating in Kigali, Nairobi, or Dar es Salaam before its subject has finished her breakfast. Our national cybercrime and sexual offences statutes were written, understandably, as national instruments. The abuse they now have to contain has never once respected that boundary. National laws remain necessary, but regional harm requires regional coordination. That is precisely the gap that the East Africa Law Society exists to close. We were built as a regional bar, not 8 national ones sitting near each other. This year, ELS will put the Women Lawyers Forum, chaired by Madam Angela Mwadumbo, who is here this morning. There is work for you, Madam Chair. To a comparative review of how each of our 8 member jurisdictions currently defines and punishes image-based digital abuse and a model provision the forum can put before every national bar, so that a survivor's protection does not depend on which side of a border her abuser happened to be sitting on when they pressed send. There is a second reason this matters to a room full of lawyers, specifically, and I want to name it plainly. This form of abuse is not only against women in general, it is increasingly used against women at the exact moment they seek visibility, a judicial appointment, a bar leadership contest, a seat on a council, a place on a ballot. The harm is timed. It arrives when a woman is closest to power, not when she's farthest from it. That timing makes this a democratic participation question as much as a gender justice one. A woman who withdraws from a by-election, a judicial shortlist, or a parliamentary race because of what she knows will be fabricated and circulated about her is not lost to one profession. She is subtracted from how this region governs itself. A profession that trains half its talent and then watches that talent be quietly priced out of leadership by intimidation has not achieved gender justice. It has simply moved the barrier from entry into the profession to the moment a woman is about to lead it. FIDA-Kenya has spent 4 decades refusing to let that barrier stand unnamed. That is the tradition this conference sits inside. And it is why the regional bar is glad to stand with you these 2 days, rather than simply send its congratulations from a distance. So here is what this room can expect within a year, and it is narrow by design. The Women Lawyers Forum will lead the comparative review I have described. ELS will carry its findings to all 8 national bars before the next amendment anywhere in the region is drafted, not after. And we'll measure these conferences' success not by how well we describe the problem, but by whether a woman lawyer facing this harm next year has the same protection, whether she's standing in Nairobi, Kampala, or Kigali. 20 years is how long it took our statute books to catch up with the harm survivors already knew by name. That, I believe, is what leading through change actually requires. Not a faster reaction to harm once it has already spread across our borders, but a bar organized enough to close the gap before it opens. Thank you very much. God bless FIDA, and God bless East Africa.
Thank you very much, Ramadan. Another round of applause for him, please. So I tried to get, please go and read the Whitey case. It's Whitey case. He gave the citation. I hope mumeandika. Yes. The P3 form, the Whitey case. Yes. Please go and read it. So something that he says, harm comes when a woman is closest to power. Just go and think about that, yeah? And that should not buy you from now trying to get to power. He's just telling you, these are some of the challenges that women go through. But we should not be deterred. And then, of course, there's the Women's Lawyers Forum at the East Africa Law Society Conference this year. Where will it be? Zanzibar. Zanzibar tunakuja. Yes. Thank you very much, Ramadan. Our last speaker for this session is our host, our very own Natasha Eli Ere. Did I pronounce that well? Ere. Ere. All right. She's a highly accomplished advocate of the High Court of Kenya, admitted to the bar in 2014. She's currently serving her 2nd term and was the first female chairperson of both Mombasa Law Society of Kenya and the Law Society of Kenya Coast Branch, a testament to her trailblazing leadership in the legal profession. It's at that point that you should have clapped. First ever. Yes. She also serves as the chairperson of the Law Society Branch Chairs Caucus. Branch Chairs Caucus. She's a member of the LSK Devolution Funds Review Committee and the chairperson of the Ethics and Practice Standards Committee of the East Africa Law Society. Natasha is not just a lawyer, she also holds a BA in History from the York University in Toronto, and then now she holds an LLB from the UON. She's the founder and managing partner of N.A. Ali and Company Advocates, a law firm based in Mombasa. Beyond her legal practice, she's passionate about supporting women in law and motherhood. She herself is a mother of 4, 2 boys and 2 girls. Yani, how? Like how? Yes. I mean, you know why I say that. She doesn't look it. In 2018, she founded the Motherhood and Law Initiative, a growing support network that addresses the unique challenges faced by women lawyers who are also mothers. You see, I read this and I'm just reminded that, you know, women, we just need to be protected because, you know, even women who are in the profession, we just have such challenges that are unique to the profession as mothers. Through this platform, she has led impactful discussions on mental health, financial empowerment, women's health, fitness, and cancer awareness, with the initiative now progressing towards the formal registration. Natasha is a dynamic leader, a mentor, and an advocate for justice, gender equity, and legal excellence, as well as a speaker. Please put your hands together for Natasha as she comes.
Can I just say, while that bio was being read out, I wanted to hide. I don't know where they found that one from, but okay, it is what it is. Good morning, everyone. Allow me to please, actually, hold on. Considering that I'm in purple, FIDA colors, and I'm doing the floral plinth, you don't think I deserve extra claps? I'm literally blending into the background, guys. Come on. Okay. On a more serious note, Honorable Lady Justice Helen Omondi, we have Madam Jacinta Nyamosi, who's the Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecution. We have our Chair, Christine Kungu. We have Mr. Ramadan Abubakar. Tess Wavinya, I think, who has stepped out, the Vice President of LSK. We have President Emeritus Faith Odhiambo, Vice President Emeritus Mwaura Kabata. I don't think I'm missing out on anyone here, but just before I move on a little bit, I'd like to say to Jane Onyango, Sabal Khair Dada. Hawakukujibu vizuri hawa, hawakukujibu Sabal Khair. And to Honorable Lady Justice Helen Omondi, Shikamo. Shikamo sana, there we go, that's the response. There's a reason why I picked up my apologies. So on behalf of the Mombasa Law Society and the Coast Ranch Law Society of Kenya, it is my immense pleasure to welcome you to Diani and to this very important gathering. We all know where there's such a meeting of women, then brilliance automatically follows. Kabata, Rama, I've included you in that equation. In fact, you can look at each other and be like, we are brilliant. There you go, well done. We're all aware that we are meeting at a time when Kenya is changing rapidly. Our constitution gives us a strong foundation for equality and non-discrimination. But we do know that having rights on paper does not always mean experiencing them in real life. And FIDA is aware of that, and FIDA knows this, and this is the very reason that FIDA says we must have these conversations like we're going to have today and tomorrow. Kenyan women have always led in our homes, in our communities, our professions, and in our country's democratic journey. We have moved from simply participating in change to actively shaping it. I myself am a product of that and have seen it myself through my mother, who was the first Muslim woman lawyer to establish a law firm in Mombasa. That was in 1981. And we also know that digital innovation is a big part of this change that we're describing. Technology is transforming how we access justice, how we work, how we communicate, and even how we participate in democracy. It has the potential to make justice more accessible, particularly for women who face geographical or financial barriers. But we must also ask ourselves, who is being left behind during this change? What happens to the woman who cannot afford internet access, the girl without a device? And what about the women who face online harassment, abuse, and misinformation simply because they have chosen to speak or lead? As we embrace AI and digital transformation, women must be at that table, not just using the technology, but helping to create it, regulate it, and shape policies around it. And as lawyers, we have a grave responsibility to make sure that technology advances rights rather than undermine them. The same is true for our democracy. Women should not simply have a place in the conversation. We should have a seat at the table where decisions are being made. And when we do get that seat, my dear ladies, let us remember that leadership is not just about occupying it. It is about who we bring with us and whose seat we make room for at that table. We need to keep that door open, and we need to see the importance of actually having women sitting at that table. FIDA has done a tremendous job in ensuring that it supports women who are looking for political seats, any sort of leadership seats, and I myself have been the beneficiary of the same. Can I see my MLS ladies, please, in Coast Branch LSK, just by a show of hands? I can guarantee you, I have had direct interactions with at least 90% of the women there, and they help me campaign and they help me get to the seat. And what was described earlier, not just getting to the seat, but holding your hand while you're holding that position. And that's the importance of it. And I think us as women here, including Rama and Kabata, I think what we need to realize is that we don't have to be a big organization to make a difference. You can literally do something on your own as an individual. And it is at this point that I will have to pick on our President Emeritus, Faith Odhiambo. When I became chairperson for MLS in Coast Ranch, Faith and I did not know each other at all. But I can guarantee you this girl has held my hand throughout my leadership. She is the reason that I went for my first international conference. She drags me into meetings that I have no business being there. And you can see everyone at the table looking at me like, why is she here? Who is she? But Faith literally says, come, let's go. And I feel like if everyone has a faith in their life, then it would make all the difference. In that same breath, I really do have to recognize Rama and Kabata. There's a reason that they're here, and it's not by chance, ladies. Yes, of course, they hold titles now, former titles then, but I can guarantee you that they have also held my hand. Well, technically, no, because I don't shake hands with men, but you get what I mean, right? They have stood by me, and I really have to say that in as much as we need women with us and holding our hands, you also need a Rama and Kabata in your life, for sure. Let us know this, that Kenya does not need the women to wait for permission to lead. We're already leading. Let us lead together, and let us lead with purpose. With that, I'd like to thank you, FIDA, for bringing us together. I'd like to welcome our guests to the Coast region. Karibuni sana Diani, and karibuni sana nyumbani. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Natasha, or is it Tasha or Tash? Thank you very much. She says having rights on paper doesn't necessarily translate to experiencing them in real life. And then she also says we hold each other's hands. We give it up to Faith, Rama. Now here is short ni Rama and Kabata. So we hold each other's hands. Thank you very much. My task at this time ends, but I'll call upon our chair to take it over from here.
Thank you so much. Let's give my vice chair a warm round of applause. And for moderating the session very well. Ladies and gentlemen, the next session is for a very important lady in our lives as FIDA members. Allow me to just read her bio. This very important lady in the lives of FIDA members is none other than Justice Helen Omondi Amolo Owino. Justice Helen Omondi holds a master's degree in women's laws from the University of Zimbabwe, a Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of Nairobi. People from University of Nairobi, hello! And a diploma in law from the Kenya School of Law. She studied in the University of Minnesota. Remember, her names are Helen Omondi Amolo Owino. She went to the University of Minnesota in 1999 for a certificate in graduate study and professional development. She was admitted to the role of advocate in 1985. Wangapi walikuwa wamezaliwa 1985? Carol Oduor, are you sure? Okay. Her experience in the judiciary spans for 22 years. Justice Omondi joined the judicial service as a district magistrate 2 in 1985, rising to become a chief magistrate, and we all know her, for us who are mid-bar, if I may call myself that, as a chief magistrate in Milimani, a very efficient chief magistrate, I must say, those days when Milimani had a lot of issues. Clearly, she was a leader even at that particular point. She did become a magistrate, a chief magistrate from 2003 to 2007, where she was recruited as judge of the High Court of Kenya. She has continued to serve within the judiciary, and the other hat she wears is that she is the president of the International Association of Women Judges Kenya chapter. Her bio is quite long, so that I don't preempt what she's going to tell us. Allow me to ask all of us to be upstanding as we welcome our chief guest Lady Justice Helen Omondi, Court of Appeal Judge, President of IAWJ. Karibu sana.
Thank you, and please sit. And so in 2008, I was posted to Malindi. First of all, I thought Malindi was right next to Mombasa. So after 20 minutes, I thought I was lost and stopped to ask, where is Malindi? And 2 weeks after being in Malindi, I met a child as I was taking a walk who greeted me, Shikamo. And I said, Shikamo sana. And, you know, this was a little child, and he looked at me like, are you real? I mean, whoever answers that way. So Shikamuni. You see, it has not gotten any better, as you can see. But what a joy it is really to be here amongst all of you. In those days, not like the one that the Bible says in those days of Caesar Augustus, but in those days anyway. I remember when FIDA would have their conference and we were young magistrates, and they'd always have some slots for the magistrates to attend. And that is what really spruced a lot of interest for many of us. It has been a beautiful journey just working with FIDA. And so I will not, you know, if you see, I'd carried this notebook because I kept changing the protocols of who to list first, who should go next. Then in the end I decided, these are my brothers and sisters, and let me just greet them as my brothers and sisters and avoid breaching that very treasured protocol. Because I kept debating with myself, do I start with Jacinta Nyamosi because she's from ODPP, or Rama because, you know, he's East African, and or Faith, who has really been a household name for many of us and done greatly. But it is really a joy to just be in your presence, and each of you who has spoken before me, I have learned so much. I am so glad that I came. But allow me to acknowledge one person who not only inspired many of us who were then in school, where she went to school. We didn't go to the group of schools, but we went to school nonetheless. And she described herself as our housewife. Didn't say her name, but I'm sure we all know. We all know and recognize our sister Majiwa Joyce, because somehow you don't ever change. And so it is not lost to me that FIDA-Kenya shares the same mission as International Association of Women Judges Kenya chapter, namely advancing women's rights, promoting access to justice, and championing gender equality. Our association is an association comprising women judges and magistrates working in court stations all over the country. The current membership stands at 300 judges and magistrates, including the he for she male judges and magistrates. And it has been advocating for the rights of marginalized groups in our society, specifically girls and women. And for Rama and Kabata and all the other men that are present, we recognized as an association that if the man's voice is missing, then sometimes the fight becomes an uphill one. We have been to spaces where if we get the men to speak first, the rest of the community actually listens. And we really are happy that you have that support. So as an association, we are an affiliate of the International Association of Women Judges. The headquarters is in Washington. a non-profit, non-governmental organization whose members represent women judges worldwide and who share a commitment to equal justice, gender equity, and the rule of law. Our mission is to promote access to justice for women and children through gender parity, development of jurisprudence, awareness creation, empowerment, and mentorship. The Kenyan chapter's vision statement is to be the custodian for human rights and gender justice, which is guided by our mission statement on promoting access to justice for women and children, anchored to the ideals I have just alluded to. We live in fast evolving times where technology is no longer an option and is certainly taking its position as a lifestyle in daily and official interactions. When we speak about gender justice and digital innovation, we are really speaking about transformation. Transformation in who participates, who holds influence, who creates value, and who has meaningful access to justice. The legal profession has never been static. It ventilates and hyperventilates. It has a heartbeat whose rate changes swiftly. In general, history is replete with structural barriers that women have faced in various spaces. Every generation of women lawyers has inherited certain barriers, challenged them, and boldly expanded the space for those who follow. Today, we stand at another defining moment. The digital revolution is changing not only how law is practiced, but also who gets to participate and succeed in the legal economy. The question before us is not whether technology will change the profession, because it already has. The real question is whether that transformation will be inclusive, equitable, and empowering for women. So where have we come from? Not long ago, the legal profession was largely inaccessible to women. Their numbers in law schools, law firms, corporate leadership, and judicial office were limited. As a matter of fact, where the Supreme Court now sits was then the citadel of leadership, and that it housed the High Court and the Court of Appeal. But I'm sure many of you in this room do not know that it didn't have toilets for women. And I only got to learn this. I was always a machinani magistrate, but I once went to see one of my colleagues at the court, Florence Jaoko Simbiri, and I needed to use the washroom. And she gave me a key. Then when I opened, I found a man standing at the urinals, and I thought I was in the wrong place. And he said, "Oh no, come in, come in." Of course I didn't come in. I went back and I told Jaoko, "Florence, I think you gave me the wrong key." Then she said, "No, that's the key for the washroom." So I told her, I found so-and-so at the... So she just laughed and said, "That's normal. There's a toilet for the women use when the men are using the urinals." The long and short of it, of course, is that most of the women preferred to walk across to Hilton Hotel and pretend that you have gone to have tea or looking to meet someone, so that, because Hilton was also Hilton, you just didn't walk there. So you had to sound a bit important so that, while you are waiting, you can ask, "And so where are the washrooms?" But so we have come a long way. Right. So progress was often measured simply by representation, having more women at the table. At the same time, access to justice itself was largely physical. Justice depended on one's ability to travel to a courthouse, file paper documents, attend hearings in person, and navigate processes that were often costly, slow, and intimidating. These barriers affected everyone, but they disproportionately affected women who frequently needed to balance professional aspirations with caregiving responsibilities and also faced social and economic inequalities. The journey towards gender justice has therefore been more than just increasing numbers. It has been about dismantling structural barriers, ensuring equal opportunity, and recognizing that diversity strengthens institutions and enriches the development of law. So where are we today? Today we are witnessing an unprecedented convergence of law, technology, and democracy. Digital innovation has transformed legal practice. Electronic filing, virtual hearings, digital legal research, online dispute resolution, cloud-based practice management, artificial intelligence, and data analytics are no longer future possibilities. They are part of today's legal landscape. For women lawyers, these innovations have opened new pathways. Technology has made it possible to build successful practices beyond traditional office spaces, collaborate across jurisdictions, appear before courts remotely, and balance professional responsibilities with family commitments more effectively than ever before. Digital platforms have also expanded access to legal services. A lawyer in Nairobi, for instance, can advise a client in Turkana or Mombasa or Mandera without either party traveling distances, hundreds of kilometers. Legal knowledge has become more accessible, and entrepreneurship within the legal profession has become increasingly digital. Yet we must acknowledge that technology is not inherently neutral. The same digital platforms that create opportunity can also reproduce inequality. Women continue to experience unequal access to digital infrastructure. Online harassment, indeed Rama spoke to that. Cyber-enabled gender-based violence, algorithmic bias, and exclusion from emerging technology sectors. Discrimination is saliently laundered through digital technology, happily sharing the human frailties and missed steps women in leadership make as entertaining TikTok moments. Yet in reality, it is intended to ridicule and embarrass, and of course diminish the woman's confidence and credibility in the public eye. Throughout the African continent, increasingly hostile political, legal, and social environments continue to undermine the safety and operational security of a very vulnerable section of the population. As legal professionals, we must therefore ask not only how technology improves efficiency, but also whether it advances fairness, inclusion, and equal opportunity. Very often, injustice will be perpetuated and made to appear authentic. And looking at the democratic participation in the digital age, digital technology is also reshaping democracy itself. Citizens increasingly engage with public institutions through digital platforms. They obtain legal information online, participate in public discourse through social media, and expect public services to be available electronically. For women, digital participation has created unprecedented opportunities to amplify our voices, influence public policy, organize communities, and advocate for reform. Yet, digital participation also carries risks. Risk of misinformation, risk of online abuse, risk of hate speech, and risk of cyber harassment, disproportionately silencing women's voices in public spaces. A woman who has been vilified and shamed in the digital space will more likely crawl back into her shell and keep her voice to herself for the rest of her life. Protecting democratic participation therefore requires creating digital spaces that are safe, inclusive, and respectful of fundamental rights. We have seen a rise in questionable authoritarian surveillance practices, digital data harvest, information sharing, and cybersecurity threats. The reality of deploying spyware, online monitoring, and data collection systems by governmental entities, specifically targeting perceived dissenting voices and human rights defenders, cannot be ignored. Concerns and allegations have also been expressed concerning what has in many instances been perceived as sponsored online harassment, coordinated disinformation campaigns, and digital infrastructure shutdowns preying on the vulnerability of women who by their circumstances in life are very relational. One thing happens to me, it affects how I relate with my children, with my husband, with my in-laws, with my friends. Women are relational. That is how they are define their space. So in this context, digital rights, including the right to privacy, freedom of expression, and secure digital communication are increasingly imperiled. Lawyers therefore have an important role in shaping these safeguards. So where are we going to? The future of the legal profession will be defined not simply by digital transformation, but by intelligent transformation. Artificial intelligence will increasingly support legal research, document drafting, case management, transcription, contract analysis, and predictive analysis. Routine tasks will become automated, allowing lawyers to focus on higher value work such as strategy, advocacy, negotiation, and problem solving. The lawyers who will thrive will not be those competing with technology, but those who understand how to use technology ethically, responsibly, and creatively. For women lawyers, this presents an extraordinary opportunity. The barriers of geography, traditional office structures, conventional business models are rapidly fading away. New opportunities are emerging in legal technology, digital compliance, data governance, AI regulation, cybersecurity, online dispute resolution, digital rights, and cross-border legal services. The sustainable legal economy of the future will reward adaptability, innovation, and lifelong learning. Yet we have our collective responsibility. As we embrace digital innovation, we must ensure that no woman is left behind. The role played by women in the administration of justice in our day is evidence of a monumental shift from the hitherto social, cultural, general stereotype, conceptions, and perceptions of the role of women in our traditional society. Today, women pride in their rightful place as jurists, scholars, judges, and modern-day dispute resolvers in the broad spectrum of alternative dispute resolution. This means investing in digital literacy, promoting inclusive innovation, strengthening cybersecurity and data protection, addressing the algorithmic bias, and ensuring that women are represented not only as users of technology, but also as its designers, regulators, and leaders. Technology must therefore expand opportunity, not reinforce inequality. The story of women in law has always been one of resilience and transformation. From fighting for a place in the profession, to leading institutions, shaping jurisprudence, and now influencing the digital future of justice, women lawyers continue to redefine what leadership looks like. So as we look ahead, our goal should not simply be to digitize legal practice. It should be to build a legal ecosystem that is inclusive, innovative, and sustainable. One where technology advances justice, democracy strengthens equality, and every woman lawyer has the opportunity not merely to participate, but to lead. The future is not something that happens to us. It is something we have the privilege and responsibility of shaping. Indeed, the Vice Chair, Tess, spoke to that and is a living example. Sisters, learned friends, sisters, sympathizers, and supporters. Let us not perpetuate the invisible bias. Let us use technology to adjust each other's crown, even through the commonplace, simple technology like webinars. I challenge each one of us present to use the digital space, not as joint tortfeasors in the TikTok space in toppling your sister's crooked crown, but as the jewel that mentors, sharpens, and equips. Just as the good book says, iron sharpens iron. And to Rama, I'm sure in your dream of being a thespian, you came across Macbeth's piece, that life is a stage. But I will paraphrase it and say life is a stage where we are all actors, but the lead actor is definitely Ramadan. Thank you all so much for your attention. Shukran. God bless.
We give her an Obama clap until she sits down.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before I hand over to our board secretary, allow me to make a special recognition of various members who are in this room today. Allow me to start by appreciating our Chair Emeritus, Madam Joyce Majiwa, by a show, just by waving to the crowd. Thank you. And also currently the Chairperson of FIDA Trustees. Our former Vice Chair, Carol Oduor, please wave to the crowd. Our former Board Secretary, Madam Faith Odhiambo. Maria Goretti, our former board member, probably she hasn't come in, but let's acknowledge her in her absence. Former board member, Afrophilia Agasna. Is she here? I think she's a speaker in the next session. And allow me to make a special recognition of Mercy Okiro. Why? Mercy Okiro, before you clap for her. Before you clap for Mercy Okiro, Mercy is the youngest chair serving in a government parastatal board. She's a chairperson. She's the chairperson of the National Construction Authority Board, the youngest in any government board. Let's clap for her. Indeed, our theme reflects with some of the young leaders we have here. So thank you. Allow me to go back and give the session moderator back to Angela Madumbo, and you can also clap for me as I sit down. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have seen that we have set the stage for what we are going to discuss today, right? So for now, we are done with the morning session. We are going to break for tea. But before, tea is being served outside there. Before we break for tea, we will take a group photo. The group photo will also be taken right out there. So this is the time to touch up your lip gloss, nini nini, so that we can all look nice. Please let us gather there for the group photo, because you know, if you are not in the photo, you did not come. And if there is no photo, it did not happen. Yes, then we shall reconvene here after tea. Please, we are an hour, 20 minutes behind schedule. So if you could take your tea and then you come back so that we